Hi, Praise family. I do hope that you're doing well. I wanted to pop on and share a little bit with you. I wanted to share about, Murphy's Law and the law of expectation. And the type of day that I had me thinking about these two concepts, Murphy's Law and the law of expectation. And I wanted to share my thoughts on these things from a HighestPraise perspective. Murphy's Law and the law of expectation. Why did I choose that to share with you today? Well, I think it stemmed from just an experience that I had today, which put me in a state of mind to have a very good day. And I wouldn't say that the experience governed my day, but it certainly, being the first experience of the day, set me on a path, a good path for the day. And then as I was coming home, I was thinking about the law of expectation, which means you get what you expect. And as I thought about getting what I expect, or that law where what you expect you get, the concept of Murphy's Law came to mind. And I was thinking, Murphy's Law is a series of concepts that in any endeavor, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And so I wanted to contrast those two today as I shared my experience. The law of expectation versus Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong, or you get what you expect. So why did I start thinking about these two concepts? Well, to begin my day today, I had a very interesting encounter. The first meeting for the day started somewhat like this. I was expecting somebody. I went out to greet them, and I noticed that they were gawking. But before I could say anything, the person said, "Oh, I didn't expect you to be so young or pretty." And, we got to laughing about that. And I said, "So how young is young?" And the person said, "Well, I'm 44, and I thought maybe you're at least 7 years younger than I am." Of course, glowing in that compliment, I said, "Well, I am about 4 years away from my early retirement." The person was, "Really?" Anyway, we laughed about it, and I shared that, well, yesterday I was walking behind somebody who stopped, and I don't think that they recognized me, but later on in the afternoon I said, "Oh, I think you were the person who I was walking behind yesterday." And the person said, "And I stopped suddenly in front of you?" And I said, "Yes." And the person said, "Oh, I just thought you were a student." So having these two experiences back to back, I don't get insulted by that. Like, I take it as a compliment when people think that I am younger or way younger than I actually am. And so that experience this morning set me up for my day. Why did it set me up? Well, part of it is that I'm vain, and I like compliments about being pretty. Not true, but that experience and the joyful way in which the day started added to my confidence as I proceeded through my next experience, the next experience, and it took me through it entirely feeling positive and confident. And not confident because somebody told me that I was young and pretty, but confident because the environment and the atmosphere was light. It was a good and productive time that I spent in the company of this individual. And so the day started well and it ended well. And with each interaction this day, I felt more and more confident that the day would go well. And so the law of expectation states that you get what you expect. And so my first experience being a very positive one, and my attitude throughout the day being positive, meant that my entire day, the experiences that I had were positive. And at the end of the day, I finished it laughing. I even said to somebody, did you hear the laughter? And the person said, yes, I'm not even wearing my hearing aid and I can hear the laughter. The law of expectation. What you expect will be what you get. And I can launch into Murphy's Law, which is in any endeavor, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And it doesn't stop there. There are about 5 laws which I will summarize, or 5 segments of Murphy's Law, which I will summarize. The first, in any field of endeavor, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Left to themselves, things always go from bad to worse. If there is a possibility of several things going wrong, the one that will go wrong is the one that will cause the most damage. Nature always sides with a hidden flaw. If everything seems to be going well, you have obviously overlooked something. This Murphy's Law is certainly a law of doom and gloom. And when I say you get what you expect, this law is saying you better expect bad things to happen, or nothing good happens. And I want to say that, yes, sometimes I used to think that if anything will go wrong, it will go wrong, and it will go wrong in my life. You know, sometimes when little things happen, I would say, well, you know, if it will go wrong, if anything would go wrong, it would go wrong for me. And today I stopped to think a little about that and how that ties in with the law of expectation, and you get what you expect. So if I'm constantly thinking along the lines of Murphy's Law, anything that will go wrong, if anything is to go wrong, it will go wrong to me. And if a day started bad, it will only get worse. Then I'm setting up my expectations to be fulfilled. And I wanted to read something for us from Psalm 62, and I'll read verses 5 to 8, which I think is how we ought to govern our lives, through the law of expectation. And on Highest Praise Chronicles, we endeavor to give God the highest praise and to see lessons that we can have from His word that will give us a future and expected end. So I'll read Psalm 62 verses 5 to 8 as I talk about the law of expectation and that being fulfilled as we trample Murphy's Law. It says, "My soul, wait thou only upon God, for my expectation is from Him. And if my expectation is from Him, then I'm secure in that He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved. In God is my salvation and my glory. The rock of my strength and my refuge is in God. Trust in Him at all times, ye people. Pour out your heart before Him. God is a refuge for us." And so we surely will get what we expect if our expectation is of God. And even when things go wrong, we should expect that there's a solution and of God. And we should expect to see the hand of God even as things go wrong, because the law of expectation in God dispels Murphy's Law of negativity and thinking that things are just gonna go bad get from bad to worse. Nature is horrible and those things. And we know that nature was not created to be flawed. And nature, at the end of creation, God said, it is good. And he rested at the end of creation because he surveyed all the work that he had done, and it was good. And therefore he rested on the seventh day and called it holy, in commemoration of the nature that he had created for us to enjoy. So when you're tempted to expect that if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong, or when you're tempted to expect that things will go from bad to worse, or that nature is going to just deal you a hard deal, remember, Psalm 62 verse 5 says, "My soul, wait thou only upon God, for my expectation is from him." It continues, "He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved." So remember, you get what you expect. But that can be countered if our expectation is of the Lord, who is our refuge, our strength, and our rock. May God be with you. May your expectation be of God, who is goodness perpetually. God bless you, my friends. The law of expectation in God is that you will have a future and an expected end. This has been Tamara Richards, bringing to you Tuesday's edition of Highest Praise Chronicles. Blessings.